Mr. DCS is back. Today we're going to talk about qualities of a quadratic equation. The parent equation is y equal x squared. This is the famous one, y equal x squared. And the graph has a U shape, right? If you graph it, it's a U shape. It's a U shape. It's a umbrella U. It's either go up or goes down. All right. The leading coefficient A will determine if the graph goes up and down. So in this lesson, we're gonna focus when it's go up and down. So when you in conic section, there are two possibilities: it can go to the right or to the left. So for the purpose of argument, we're gonna focus when it goes up and down only. So the leading coefficient will determine that. If A is positive, right? If the coefficient A is greater than 0, that means it's positive. The parabola will open upward. That means the vertex will be the minimum points of the graph. When A is positive, the graph open upward, the U go up, right, at a favor. So the vertex will be the least point in the graph. However, if A is negative, so when A is less than 0, that means A is negative, A less than 0, the parabola will open down. It's going downward. That means the vertex of the graph will be the maximum point. When A is negative, the U shape goes down, and the vertex will be the maximum point of the graph. So remember those things. So the vertex is the essential, the most important point of the graph. You have to know how to find the vertex, so which we are going to discuss. So before you can find the vertex, you can find the x coordinate, which is called the x-axis of symmetry, which is negative b over 2a. So remember that this is your A term, this is your B term, this is your C term. So you're going to find the B term minus 2 times A. That will give you the x-axis of symmetry. The x-axis of symmetry is a vertical line, dotted line, that will be a mirror image. That will be half of the graph on both sides. So this is very important. This is the x-coordinate of the vertex. Now to find the y-coordinate of the vertex, so it is y equal minus f of b minus 2a. So whatever you find whatever you find as your x, you have to go plug it in the original equation to find your y coordinate. Therefore, the vertex is minus b over 2a, that's the x coordinate, and your y is f of negative b over 2a. You will have to replace that in the original equation and evaluate it to find the y coordinate, and that will give you the vertex. So in other points, since you are going to graph, so in other points we'll have to find is the y-intercept, which is probably the easiest point in the graph. So make sure that when you're looking for the y-intercept, make sure that your equation is in standard form in ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. In this case, when your equation is in standard form, the y-intercept is 0c, meaning you substitute 0 for x, and this c term is your y. So if you replace 0 here, this becomes 0. If you replace 0 here, this becomes 0. Then c will be your y-intercept. So remember that. And the other place you will have to find when you graph is what you call the x. You will have to find the x-intercept. So in order to find the x-intercept, there are many ways you can find the x-intercept. So x-intercept, there are many guidelines you can find the x-intercept of the parabola. So we're going to focus about 3 of them. Mainly, you can use factorization, factor. There are other methods, but we are going to focus on 3 of them. Right? Completing the square, which is the most important one, where I'm going to spend time. Completing the square method, which is a process. And we're going to use quadratic formula. So there are other 10, but we're going to focus on those. Right? Those are the 3 things we're going to focus to find the x-intercept. Now let's recap the y-intercept. Right? Is 0c, but the equation must be in standard form. So when we replace 0 for x, this goes to 0, this goes to 0, and that will be 0c. All right? The other point is the vertex. To find the vertex, x coordinate minus b over 2a, and your f to find your y is f of negative b over 2a, meaning that you will have to replace that in the original equation, substitute it, and evaluate it. That will give you that. And to find the x-intercept, then we're mainly going to use completing the square quadratic formula. So those are the points that you will have to compute, and you go plugging them on the coordinate grid, then you're going to find your U shape. So there are other alternatives. So since I'm always focused on the critical point of the graph, so those are the points we are going to find. Those are called critical point of the graph, where those majority things happen, critical point of the graph. So that's what we are going to focus on. Right? First is a U shape. All right. Remember the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So since our objective is to graph, so we're going to find the y-intercept, which is 0c. When your equation is standard form, make sure that your equation is standard form. Everything is one side, and you let the other side is equal to 0, that's standard form. Then we're going to find the vertex. First, we're going to find the x-axis of symmetry, which is x equal minus b over 2a, which is the vertical line, a vertical dash line. This is a mirror image of the graph. So we will have to find that. Then once we find the x-axis of symmetry, that the x-coordinate of the vertex, then you will have to replace that in the equation. Then you evaluate that, that will give you the y-coordinate of the vertex, then you will find the vertex. And the last piece is to find the x-intercept. You can either use completing the square, quadratic formula, okay, which is a formula. Then I will show you how to derive to that. And the other option, you can use factorization. So factorization is that bad. So not all the time that a quadratic equation can be factored, so that there's going to focus on completing the square and quadratic formula. This always works. So those are the two that we're going to spend time. It doesn't matter you use completing the square or quadratic formula, you will always find your x-intercept. So factorization factor does not work all the time. So those are the critical things that we are going to look for. So let's go over completing the square. Since completing the square is the process, so we're going to see what the process is. All right. When you're using completing the square method, is a process. First rules is that make sure your equation is in the form ax squared plus bx is equal to c. That means you have to move c on the other side. Right? Then to do this, you will have to keep all of the variables on one side of the equation and move the constant on the other side. So first, your equation must be in this form when using completing the square method. So ax squared plus bx is equal to c. Move the constant on the other side and keep the variable in one side. So then what you will have to do next, your goal is to have the coefficient of a is 1. If a is not 1, you will divide everything by a. Once you divide everything by 10 by a, so what you can do, remember that if you move c on this side, that's what you will have. Then you divide everything by a. That's what this is telling you. Then you will end up with x squared plus b over a x is equal to minus c over a. That's what you will end up. The second step you're going to do, you're going to take the b term, then you divide by 2. In this case, the coefficient of b term is b over a. If I take b over a and divide by 2, so now you multiply to fraction. This is the same thing as b over a, right? Multiply by 1/2. Then you will have b over 2a. Then once you find that, you square it. Once you square it, and you add it to each side. So you will end up with that. X plus b over ax, right? Then you add this on each side. B over 2a squared. So remember, whatever you do on one side, you must do it on the other side. And you will have that. This will end up with x squared plus b over ax. This becomes b squared plus 4a squared. Right? This side becomes minus c over a plus b squared plus 4a squared. Right? Then you will try to write this as a perfect square trinomial. When you write this as a perfect square trinomial, it's going to become this. Then this you will find a common denominator for that. In this case, it's 4a squared. This is already 4a squared. This I will have to multiply this by 4a. I have to multiply this by 4a. So you will end up with this b squared, right, over 4a squared, right, minus 4ac. Right? The next step, you will have to take the square root. Take the square root of each side. When I take the square root of this, I will have x plus b over 2a is equal to plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Once you get there, you will have to solve for x. If I'm solving for x, I'm going to subtract minus b over 2a from inside. Minus b over 2a. So you will have x equal minus b over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So we have a common denominator, then you can rewrite it as minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. This is how you derive with what you call the quadratic formula. This is the quadratic formula by using completing the square method, quadratic formula. So now you have the right to use the quadratic formula, right? So completing this way, this is what we're going to use. This is one part we're going to use to find the x-intercept. So if you have problem using completing this square, so you may use this formula, which is called the quadratic formula, right? Minus b, all right, over 2a plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So that is your quadratic formula. So now you have the right to use it. This is where it comes from. This is instead this is. So we're going to start doing some work how to graph quadratic equation. So we know which one that we are going to look for. Instead this is back again. All right, in another one. So we're going to do some practice on how to find the critical point of a quadratic equation in order to graph them. So let me start. We have an equation, x squared plus 6x minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay? In this case, we can identify the equation is in standard form, ax plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So since the equation is in standard form, the easiest way we can find is what you call the y-intercept. If I come here, substitute 0 here, x squared goes to 0, 6 times x is 0, my y-intercept will be 0, negative 3. This is the y-intercept. This is the easiest way to find one. And c is negative 3. All right? So we're going to find the x-axis of symmetry, which is x equal negative b over 2a. Right? That's how you find the x-axis of symmetry. This is the formula that you need to use to find the x-axis of symmetry. So I use my coefficient, invisible 1, 6 is my b, negative 3 is my c. So I already find my y-intercept. So I'm going to have negative b is 6 over 2 times 1 is going to be equal to x. That will be my x-axis of symmetry. So I will have x equal negative 6 over 2. In this case, x is negative 3. My x-axis of symmetry is negative 3. Right? So in order to find the y coordinate of the vertex, remember this is the first point of the vertex. It's probably the most essential point. This, I know my x coordinate. Then I will need to find the y coordinate, which is f of negative b over 2a, which is negative 3. I'm going to take that negative 3. I'm going to replace it here. Now this is no longer 0. This becomes y. Right? 0. Right? So I'm going to find y. So I'm going to say y equal negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 minus 3. That's equal to y. So I will have y equal negative 3 squared is 9. 3 times negative 3 is negative 18 minus 3. Then I will have y equal 9 minus 21. 9 minus 21 is negative 12. So this is negative 12. Y is negative 12. This is my vertex. Negative 3, 12. Negative 3, negative 12. This is the vertex. Now the only thing I need to find is my x-intercept. So we're going to put the 0 back here. So I'm going to use completing the square method, then use quadratic formula. I'm going to use both methods at the same time. Then you will be able to use what you want to use. I'm going to add 3 to each side. So I can have my equation in the form ax squared plus bx is equal to c. So I will have x squared plus 6x divided to space is equal to 3. Now, I need a new c here. So I'm going to complete this square. So this is my b term. They will say you must take the b terms, you divide by 2. Whatever b is, you divide by 2, then you square it. So if I take 6, I divide by 2, that will give me 3. Now I'm going to take that 3 and square it. So this is what I will have here, 3 squared. So if I add 3 squared on this side, I have to add 3 squared on the other side. Then I will end up with x squared plus 6x plus 9. This becomes a perfect square trinomial. And this will be 3 plus 9 is 12. Then I'm going to write that perfect square trinomial as that x plus 3 squared is equal to 12. Now the only thing you have to do is to take the square root. That will be x plus 3 is equal plus or minus square root of 12. If you write this is 4 times 3 and take the square root, it will give you 2 square root of 3. And in order to solve for x, you subtract 3 from each side. So you will find your x-intercept is equal to negative 3 plus or minus 2 square root of 3. This you'll have to compute that to give you x-intercept. So that's how you do it. So this is your x-intercept, which is negative 3 plus or minus 2 root of 3. This will be your x-intercept. Since you are going to graph it, most likely you will have to change that back to decimal if you are allowed to do that. Other than that, this is, if you are taking a test, that will be the best possible answer. When you are taking your ACC, PSAT, whatever standard tests you're taking, that's how your thing will come out. So let's go back again, find the x-intercept by using quadratic formula, which is a formula that will be much more easy. Right, remember A was 1, B is 6, and C is negative 3. So not all the time is going to be able to factor out. So the quadratic formula is x equal minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So I'm using both concepts for you, completing the square and quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is just order of operation. Said minus b, so I will have minus 6 plus or minus root of b squared, that will be 6 squared, minus 4 times a is 1 times c is negative 3, everything is over 2 times 1. This will give you your x-intercept. That's another way of finding your x-intercept. Then you will have minus 6 plus or minus 6 squared is 36. That will be positive 12. Everything is over 2. Then you will have x equal minus 6 plus or minus 36 plus 12 is 48 over 2. Then you will have x equal minus 6 plus or minus 48 can be breaking down. Remember, this is over 2. We're going to work with the 48. 48, if you do factor 3, I know what it is. I know it's 16 times 3, that will give you 48. However, some of you may not know that. There you go, what you will have to do. If I have 48, I will do factor 3. 48 is 4 times 12. 12 is 4 times 3. That's what you want to get. Something that appears twice, right? 4 times 4 is 16. So 48 is 16 times 3. The root of 16 is 4 square root of 3. So that's what 48 will give you. 4 square root of 3. Now those have 2 in common. You can divide this by 2, that will give you negative 3. Divide this by 2, that will give you plus or minus 2 root of 3. You will see the answer is still the same. This is your x-intercept. That's how you do this thing. All right, so it's work both ways. So that the reason we're going to either use quadratic formula or completing the square. Let's resume. We have another equation which is x squared minus 12x plus 7. The equation is in standard form. So the coefficient of a is 1, b is negative 12, and c is 7. So since we know the equation is standard form, we can find the y-intercept, which is the easiest way. The y-intercept, once the equation is in standard form, is always 0, c. 0 for x and c is for y. That will be 0, 7. This is where it will cross the y-axis at 7. All right? The other thing we can do is to find the x-axis of symmetry. Remember, the x-axis of symmetry is negative x equal negative b over 2a. That will give you the x-coordinate of the vertex. So we're working on the vertex. So that's what we'll have to do. So let's find the x-coordinate of the vertex. Minus b is minus b. What is b? B is negative 12. So I put it inside parentheses, 2 times 1. So you will have x equal to double negatives become 12 over 2. In this case, x-axis which is 6. So the x-coordinate of the vertex is 6. So now I'm going to find y-coordinate of the vertex. I'm going to take the x-axis of symmetry, replace it in the original equation, and I will have y equal x squared minus 12x plus 7. So I know what x is. So I will have y equal 6 squared minus 12 times 6 plus 7. I will have y equal 36. That is 6 times this is negative 72 plus 7. So this will give you negative 36 plus 7. This will give me negative 29. That's a huge number. So the y-coordinate of the vertex is negative 29. So the vertex is 6, comma, negative 29. Now the only thing I need to do is to find the x-intercept. So to find the x-intercept, I'm going to use completing the square. When using completing the square, so you want the recurrent to be in this form, x squared minus 12x, and you move c on the other side, then this will become minus 7. So my new equation will be x squared minus 12x is equal to negative 7. So the second step I'm going to do, I'm going to take the b term divided by 2 and square it. So if I take negative 12 divided by 2, that's going to give me negative 6. Then I'm going to take negative 6 and square it on each side. So that will give me 36. That's what I'm going to add on each side. I'm going to add 36 on each side. All right. So then when I rewrite this as a perfect trinomial, that's going to be x minus 6 equal 36 minus 7 is 29. The only thing I have to do is take the square root of each side. And I will have x minus 6 is equal plus or minus root of 29. So now, in order to find x by itself, I will have to add 6 on each side. Then my x-intercept will be 6 plus or minus root of 29. This is my x-intercept. So in order to graph this, so you will have to change that to decimal to evaluate what root of 29 is. It's about 5 point something, because it's between 25 will have give you 5, so it's greater than 25, but less than 36 is between 5 and 6. So that will be 5 point something. All right, that would be the first thing to do. So the other way around is to use the quadratic formula. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm using both methods at the same time. Then you have double doses. Right? Remember, is minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a, and we know a was 1, b was negative 12, and c was 7. So I'm going to replace this in this bad boy formula, then I can evaluate that. So that's what we're about to do. So we'll have x equal negative b, that will be negative, what is b? Negative 12, plus or minus negative 12 squared minus 4 times 1 times 7, everything is over 2 times 1. Okay. Then this is going to become a positive 12 plus or minus negative 12 squared square root, that will give you 144. Right? I will give you minus 28. Everything is over 2a. Right? That's what we do so far. In this case, we'll take 44 minus 28. All right, little calculation. It's about 126. Right? Minus 28. Oh, missing. Minus 28. All right, that will give you 6. That will give you, that will be 116. So you will have x equal 12 plus or minus root of 116 over 2. Now this 116, we have to do some factor 3. So 116 is the same as 2 times 58. 58 is 2 times 29. This cannot be factored anymore. This is the same thing. 2 times 2 is 4. 116 is 4 times 29. So this is going to change as x equal 12 plus or minus, right? Square root of 4 is 2. I'll give you 2 square root of 29. And everything has 2 in common. We can simplify that. That will give you 6. 2 goes to 2, 1. That will be plus root of 29. As you can see, you get the same outcome. So we're not joking. So either you find one of the concepts that's work for you, anyone will work for you. As long as you're doing your PEMDAS order of operation correctly, we will get the same outcome. So that's what we will learn to do, then that's what we have to do. So the next equation, without wasting time is money. So let's be more efficient so we can use our time wisely. So we have an equation which is x squared plus 8x minus 11. So far, those are the easy ones. So your equation is in standard form. Your equation is standard form, so I can find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is the easiest way to find when your equation is in standard form. Remember, I'm teaching you how to find those points. And once we know how to find those points, and we're going to put them on the coordinate grid, then we grab that bad boy. All right? That will give you 0, comma, negative 11. This is my y-intercept. All right. The second thing I'm going to find is my x-axis of symmetry, which is negative b over 2a. This will help me find the x-coordinate of the vertex. So let me get my vertex ready. I already find my y-intercept, and I'm going to find the point that is most important. So in this case, let's see what a is. A is 1, a visible 1. What is b? B is 8, and what is c? C is negative 11. So I'm going to use my x-axis of symmetry formula, which is minus b is 8 over 2 times 1. So I will have x equal negative 8 over 2. X is negative 4. The x-coordinate of the vertex is negative 4. Now I need to find my y-coordinate. So in order to find my y-coordinate, I'm going to take this bad boy. I'm going to rewrite my equation as y equal. Where the 0 was, I have to replace it by y. And my equation is x squared plus 8x minus 11. So I'm going to replace negative 4 for x. Wherever I see s, I'm going to replace it, substitution. So I will have y equal negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4, take away 11. So when I square negative 4, that gives me 16. This will give me minus 32. This will give me minus 11. So I will have y. When I do this, that will give me negative 16 minus 11. Therefore, y is negative 27. This is my vertex for negative 27. I find the most important point. I have my y-intercept, I have my vertex. Now I have to calculate the x-intercept. So we're going to use copying the square. So this bad boy is done. So I'm going to move this on the other side. It's going to become 11. So remember, your equation has to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus 8x is equal to 11. Then I'm going to take my b term divided by 2. If I take 8 divided by 2, that will give me 4. Then it said whatever I find after I divide by 2, I must square it. So that will give me 16. Then I'm going to add 16 to each side. So I will have 16 here, I will have 16 here. So I will have x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to 27. And I'm going to rewrite my equation as x is always the number that you find here that goes here, including each side, then you squared is equal to 27. Then you take the square root of each side. And that'll give me x plus 4 equal plus or minus root of 27 can be factored out as a 27 is 9 times 3. This is the perfect square, that's the bad boy I was looking for. If I take the square root of 9, the answer will be 3 root of 3. That's what square root of 27 is. Then I need to get x by itself, subtract 4 on each side, subtract 4. And I will have x equal minus 4 plus or minus 3 root of 3. This is my x-intercept. Okay? and I'm done. I find all of the points that I need to find. Then next lesson, then I will be ready to graph those bad boy. Right? So the last thing we have to do, since we always do both ways, completing the square and quadratic formula. And instead of doing many videos, so we just condense it in one, right? All right, remember A was 1, B was 8, and C was negative 11. Right? We're gonna use the formula, which is x minus b, x equal minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac. Try to learn the formula. So this is a given. Then you'll have x equal minus b. That will give you minus 8 plus or minus root of 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 11. Everything is over 2 times 1. For now, it's very easy when a is 1. When a is not 1, you will see going to start dealing with fraction. That's where many of you are going to start spending. I don't know why. Because it's fraction. So you will have 64 plus 44. You would have 2 negative. That should be positive. Then you will have x equal minus 8 plus or minus. What is 64 plus 44? That will be 108. Let's confirm that. 64 plus 44 is 108. So we have to verify that bad boy. So everything is over 2. Now you have x minus 8. All right, over 2 plus or minus. Then we have to go explore that. If there's no perfect square inside of 108, it seems that there are plenty of factors. If I go 108 by 2 is 54. 54 is 2 times 27. 27 is 9 times 3. So that will be 436. 108 is 36 times 3. So when I do my factor 3, if I take 36 multiplied by 2, it will give me 108. Therefore, this will be root of 6, 6 square root of 3. All right. So what I can do, they have 2 in common, so I will have x equal minus 4 plus 3 root of 3. The answer does not change. Only a different step, only a different ways. And this is the end of the bad boy. So be ready for the fraction. They are coming. All right, there you go, big one is coming. So we have 4x squared. This is where head gonna start spinning like trouble. All right. So let's get started. All right. The microequation is standard form. So I'm looking for the critical point. My y-intercept is 0c. In this case, c is negative 3. My y-intercept is 0, negative 3. And I'm done with my y-intercept. So my a is no longer 1, it is 4. My b is 10, and my c is negative 3. So we're going to find the x-axis of symmetry, which is negative b over 2a. Hold on your horses. The computation is going to start get busy because we have some fraction, we'll have 2 squared. All right, I will minus b will be x equal minus 10 over 2 times a is 4. So we will have negative 10 over 8. When you simplify that, x is negative 5, 4. Right? at the x-axis of symmetry. So I'm going to get my vertex ready. I find the x coordinate of the vertex, which is negative 5, 4. Now, I will have to find y. So that will be y equal 4x squared plus 10x minus 3. Let's go to your horses. We're going to do some multiplication. Y is equal 4 times negative 5 over 4, you square it, plus 10 times negative 5 over 4 minus 3. This is very huge. Then you will have y is equal 4 times 25 over 16. Right? It's negative 5 times negative 5. That gives you as in 25. 4 times 4 is 16. Right? This will give you minus 50 over 4. Those going to be simplified later. That's what we are going to do. Then you will have this. 4 go to 16 4 times. This is going to give you 25 over 4 minus 50 over 4 minus 3. This can be combining. Then you will have y equal negative 25 over 4 minus 3 over 1. Then you need this to be a 4, multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4. We end up with y equal, all right, negative 25 over 4 minus 12 over 4. So now you have same denominator, you can combine them. Then this will give you y equal negative 37 over 4. This is the y coordinate of the vertex, and you get your vertex. So it's all about knowing how to add, multiply, divide, and subtract. I know you guys will have so many questions. How did I get that? So it's simplify, simplify. So this is a very complicated for many of you, but at the same time, if you know how to multiply, adding, subtracting, or the operation is very simple. This, we are using PEMDAS. Okay. So you have to square this first. This, you raise it to the second part, that will give you 25. This, you raise it to the second part, that will give you 16. So you have 4 times 25 over 16. This, you put this over 1, you multiply this way. Numerator 10 times negative 5 is negative 50 over 4 minus 3. Now you can see that 4 goes to 16 4 times, then this will give you 25 over 4. This gives you 50 over 4 minus 3. Now they have the same denominator, you can combine that. You have 25 over 4, this is positive, and minus 25 over 4. Half is negative 25 over 4. The 2, you put it over 1, multiplied by 4, multiplied by 4, so you can have a common denominator. So you'll have negative 25 over 4 minus 12 over 4. This side and this same, you keep your denominator. 25, negative 25 minus 12 is negative 37 over 4. That's how you find your y coordinate. So the last one is to find the x-intercept. So we're going to need a lot of space because it's going to require a lot of work. So let's do this. Let's move on the then we can find the completing square. All right, the original equation is 4x squared, right, plus 10x minus 3 is equal to 0. Your goal is to move 3 on the other side. You move 3 on the other side. Then you will end up with 4x squared plus 10x is equal to 3. When you're using completing the square, is to have this as a 1. Therefore, we need to get rid of the 4. We're going to divide everything by 4. So you will end up with x squared plus 10 over 4 is equal to 3 over 4. You know 10 over 4 can be simplified. I'm doing it this low version. Is divided by 2, you will have this is equal to 3 over 4. So those are little step. I know some of you will already have question, no problem. Right? You divide by 4, then you have 10 over 4, and 2 divided by 4 is 3/4. But this can be simplified. They have 2 in common. Divide by 2, divide by 2, that will give you 5 over 2. Now, we can start doing the completing the square process. This study, you take 5 over 2, you must divide by 2. So pay attention. You're going to divide two fractions. 5 over 2 divide, I'm doing the slowest as possible, divide by 2 over 1. This when you divide two fractions, you keep the first one as is, and your division change to multiplication, and you do the reciprocal. This become 1 over 2, and this become 5 over 4. Then you're going to square this, and this is going to give you 25 over 4. That's what you're going to add on this side. This is going to add 25 over 16. I bad. Over 4 over 16. You have to square both of them. This is 25 over 16. So remember, any simple mistake gonna change those things. Alright? Then this you will write it as the perfect square trinomial as x plus 5 over 4 squared is equal to plus or minus. So this we have to combine simplifying that fraction to become one term. So my current denominator is 16. I want that to be a 16. So I will have to multiply this by 4. I will have to multiply this by 4. All right? This is going to give me 12 plus 25 over 16. This becomes 37 over 16. Then you take square root. I know you guys have questions. The reason we have to learn how to add multiply correctly is equal plus or minus 37, there's no root, and square root of 16 is 4. Now you subtract 5 over 4 from inside to get x. Subtract 5 over 4, subtract 5 over 4, you will have x equal, you got this 5/4. Since everything is over 4, you can write it as this way, plus or minus, right? Square root of 37. This is your answer. These are your x-intercept. Those are complicated numbers, so you will have to deal with that. So that is the completing the square method. So hold on to your horses. We're going back and do the quadratic formulas. A is 4, B is 10, and C is -3. So let's go next one. Right? A is 4, B is 10, and C is -3. Remember, x equal minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2 times a. It doesn't matter which way you do it, you should get the same answer. So let's go. It's minus b, x equal minus b, b is 10, that minus 10, plus or minus square root of 10 squared minus 4 times a, which is 4, times c, which is -3. Everything is over 2 times a. In this case, a is 4, a is no longer 1. So we'll have x equal -10 plus or minus 10 squared is 100. Right? You multiply to negative, that will give you 48. Everything is over 8. 2 times 4 is 8. I will have x equal -10 plus or minus root of 148. Everything is over 8. Now we're going to explore to see what root of 148 is. Everything is over 8. Let's go work this bad boys out. right? 148. Since I don't know any number, I can take 148. That will be 74. 7, that will be 74. I know 74 is 2 times 37. So there's nothing else I can do with 37. 37 is a prime number. Therefore, I know 148 is 4 times 37. That will give me 148. And I can take the square root of each one of them. And therefore, this will give me 2 square root of 37. 2 root of 37. All right, those have 2 in common. I can factor by 2. And I factor by 2, this is going to give me negative 5. The 2 going to cancel, give me root of 37. And 2 by 8 is 4. The answer does not change, my friend. Is believe. If you believe you can add and subtract correctly, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get to destination. Let me do the bad boy, so you can see what's going on. You can add and subtract correctly, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get to destination. Let me do the bad boy. Enjoy it. All right. Wake up, Mr. This is back. All right, let's continue with our lesson. So, solving quadratic equation by completing the square and quadratic formula. So, we have some easy one where you have x squared plus 6x minus 7 is equal to 0. By now, you know the y-intercept. The equation is in standard form. The y-intercept is always 0c as long as your equation is in standard form. In this case, that would be 0, negative 7. All right. Then I need to find the x-axis of symmetry, all right, which is x equal minus b over 2a. In this case, a is 1, easy, b is 6. So x equal minus b minus 6 over 2 times 1. So x equal minus 6 over 2. X equal is negative 3. So the x coordinate of the vertex is negative 3. So I need to find y. In order to find y, I'm going to replace 0 with y. And I have x squared plus 6x minus 7. Then I'm going to replace my x-axis of symmetry in that equation. Then I will have y equal minus 3 squared plus 6 times minus 3 minus 7. And I'm going to evaluate that. And I will have negative 3 squared, which is 9. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18 minus 7. And I will have y equal 9 minus 25. And I will have y is equal to negative 16. My vertex is negative 3, negative 16. Now I'm going to use completing this square. So I will have to add 7 on this side. So my equation can be in the form ax squared plus bx is equal to c. So I have x squared plus 6x is equal to 7. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to divide by 2 and square it, add it to each side. So I'm going to take my b term, which is 6. If I take 6 and divide by 2, that will give me 3. I'm going to square 3, that will give me 9. Then that's what I'm going to add on each side. So I add 9 on each side. So I'm going to divide this as x, whatever b over 2 was, that was 3. Then I'm going to square it, is equal to 7 plus 9, which is 16. So this is a good one. You don't have to deal with fraction. Then you take square root of each side. And you take square root, you end up x plus 3 is equal plus or minus 4. And you're solving for x, you subtract 3 on each side. You subtract 3, therefore your x-intercept is negative 3 plus or minus 4. In this case, since you do not have any decimal, any radical, then you can compute that. So you have two options. Either you have negative 3 plus 4, and you have negative 3 minus 4. So negative 3 plus 4 is 1. Therefore, when x is 1, y is 0. And minus 3 minus 4 is negative 7. So those are your x-intercepts. So those are easy to graph. So you don't have to change to decimal. So those are easy numbers. So if I were to graph that, this is the point that I'm going to graph. So we have not graphed. So those points are easy to graph. So let's see if we can put that bad boy easily. Right? 0, negative 7, you have to go to a unit down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? In this case, my graph need to change, so therefore 16 is all the way down. So let's use unit of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. That's where 16 will be. X is negative 3, so negative 3. That's negative 2, negative 3, 16 will be somewhere down there. And 2, 4, 6, that will be 0, 7. That's one of them. And x is 1. That's another one. And x is negative 7. That will be 2, 4, 6. That's the other one. And that will be how your graph look like. So we're not doing graph, but since that one was easy, so we will have an easy one to graph. So that will be your x-axis of symmetry. X equal to negative 3. It is telling you this side is the same thing on that side. So let's solve that problem again by using a quadratic formula. So that our two main concepts are to find the x-intercept by using quadratic formula. In this case, A was 1, B is 6, and C was negative 7. And the formula is x equal negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Alright, so we're going to replace that. So we'll have x equal minus b, which is 6 plus or minus 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times c, which is negative 7, over 2 times 1. Then you'll have x equal minus 6 plus or minus 6 squared is 36. That will be multiplied to negative, that will be positive 28. Everything is over 2. And you'll have x equal minus 3 plus or minus 36 plus 28 is 64. Everything is over 2. And you'll have x equal minus 3 plus or minus square root of 64 is 8 plus or minus 8. All right. So this is a negative 6 mistakes. So those have 2 in common. So if I simplify that, I will have x equal minus 3 plus or minus 4. So as you can see, it is negative 3 plus 4, negative 3 minus 4. This will give you your x-intercept. This will give you 1, 0. And this will give you negative 7, 0. So the answer does not change. So as long as you do your operation correctly, the answer will not be changed. So let's put a couple. All right, the equation is x squared plus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. The equation is in that form. Therefore, we know that the y-intercept is 0, 8. All right, we're going to find the x-axis of symmetry, which is minus b over 2a. In this case, b is 6, so that will be minus 6 over 2, 2 times 1, that will give you over 2, therefore x is negative 3. So this is the x-coordinate of the vertex. The x-coordinate of the vertex is negative 3. Then I'm going to evaluate that y equal x squared plus 6x plus 8, and I will have y equal negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. And I will have y equal negative 3 squared is 9 minus 18 plus 8. So I will have y equal negative 9 plus 8. In this case, y is negative 1. So my vertex is negative 3, negative 1. Now I need to find my x-intercept. I'm going to use completing the square. So I will have to subtract 8 on this side. Then I will have x squared plus 6x is equal to negative 8. And I'm going to take 6 divided by 2. It will give me 3. I'm going to square 3. It will give me 9. Then I'm going to add 9 on this side. Then this is going to give me x plus 3 squared is equal to 1. Then take square root of this side. And I will have x plus 3 is equal plus or minus 1. I'm going to subtract 3 on this side. Then I will have x equal minus 3 plus or minus 1. So this will tell me either I have minus 3 plus 1 and minus 3 minus 1. This will give me negative 2, 0. And this will give me negative 4, 0. Those are my x-intercepts. So I have my vertex, my y-intercept. Then this I can go put it on the graph for the fun of it. All right, 0, 8. I have to go 8 units up. If I can count to 8. So that will be 2, 4, 6, 8. That will be 0, 8. All right, negative 2, 0. That will be 1, 2. That will be negative 2, 0. Negative 4, 0. That will be 1, 2. That will be negative 4, 0. And my vertex negative 3, negative 1. My vertex negative 3, negative 1. All right, it will be negative 3, negative 1. Then I'm going to do this, starting from the vertex. You can only touch your intercept only one. It's where it touches and go back again. And this is my u. And that will be my x-axis of symmetry. That's your graph. All right. So we will have a special lesson on graph. This is a preview, right? And one way you will know that it is going up because A is 1. A is positive 1. When A is positive 1 is going up. If A was negative, it would have gone down. In this case, since A is positive, the vertex negative 3, 1. This is the lowest point of the graph. Anything has to be above it. So this is the lowest point, the tip of the graph. So let's go and do the quadratic formula. Then we can start moving out. All right. Remember that the equation is x squared plus 6x plus 8 is equal to 0. A is 1, B is 6, and C is 8. So we'll have x equal minus b, that will be minus 6 plus or minus 6 squared, b squared, minus 4ac. A is 1, C is 8. Right? So that's where we started. So we go over 2 times 1. All right, then we go again. Nothing changed, only the numbers are changing. So the earlier you know your order of operation, then that's where you're going to get the grade. You can blame it on me, it's all good. But we have to learn how to add and subtract. All right, 6 squared is 36, 4 times 8 is 32, 36 minus 32, we'll have minus 6 plus or minus square root of 4 over 2, and we'll have x equal minus 6, square root of 4 is 2, plus or minus 2 over 2. Since they have 2 in common, then you can simplify this by 2, then you will have x equal negative 3 plus or minus 1. These are your x-intercept. So since there's no decimal out, either you have minus 3 plus 1 and minus 3 minus 1. This will give you negative 2, 0. And this will give you negative 4, 0. Those are your x-intercept. Remember the vertex was negative 3, 1, 3, negative 1, and the y-intercept was 0, 8. Those are the points that we will need to graph. But before we can graph, we need to know how to find those points. Once we know how to find those points, then we'll be able to graph that flying car. That was Mr. DCS again. Go, like, subscribe, and share, and make the grade. Peace out.